what will an individual learn when they are acquiring the CWIIP?
The CWIIP is probably the most unique of all the certifications that CWNP offers, because pretty much every certification that we offer has some really strong ties to radio frequency and Wi-Fi communications, whether that be CWS, CWT, CWNA, CWDP, CWSP, CWAP, CWISA, CWICP, CWIDP, all of them really strong ties to RF. But CWIIP, not so much. Because CWIIP is the Certified Wireless IoT Integration Professional. We realized along the process of this journey to develop this IoT track that there's a knowledge set that someone really needs to know to be a wireless IoT expert, which is the ultimate goal of this track. And that is this integration concept. Now, integration is the concept of making what would be otherwise disconnected systems work together. It allows you to implement what technically is known in the world of systems engineering as systems of systems. So you create a system that is an aggregate of multiple systems. This is huge in IoT because you might have in one part of the plant an IoT solution from one vendor that uses one set of protocols and one kind of data exchange. And then in another part of the plant, you have a different vendor's solution with different protocols and different types of data exchange. And one of them talks to cloud A and the other one talks to cloud B. And then you've got a third IoT solution with more protocols and different data exchanges, and it just talks to a database on your local network. So you get these three different networks. But then all of a sudden, the business folks say, we need the information from all of them. To get the insights we need for business intelligence, we've got to have all of that information. So, go make it happen for us. Well, CWIIP is the answer to how do I go make that happen? How do I go make sure that I have this integration? So it comes down to looking at higher layer protocols that are used on the network above the wireless stuff. So protocols for data exchange, moving data around on the network. It comes down to database technologies, understanding simple, smaller databases all the way through to big data and how I can do major, large-scale database systems that are responsive in a timely manner to large-scale and intensive queries. And it also comes down to security throughout this whole system and some programming concepts, because it might be very important. I may end up having to develop some code that gets the job done because no one else has a way to get the job done. So I have to use maybe something like the Python scripting language to extract some data out of one source, make some changes to it, some modifications, it's called data transformation, and then put that data in another destination. So the extraction from one, E, the transformation, changing the data, T, and then the loading into another location, L. That's what we call ETL within the data management world. And so this is all part of integration, and it's part of being a master IoT professional. And by the way, Melissa, this is one of the reasons why I say that IoT is a huge field of knowledge, but the people that can master it are going to be some of the most in-demand people in the next decade within all of the IT and OT, operations technology in industrial environments. In both of those spaces, they're going to be some of the most in-demand people around. And the reason is the skills are complicated. And while you don't have to be an expert in every one of those things I just mentioned, you don't have to be an expert in Python and in big data and in data communications protocols and so forth. You have to know them well enough to make the right decisions and possibly take actions to make this integration take place. And so you do have to be proficient in all of those areas, even though you may not have to be an expert in each and every one of those areas. So what I'm saying, to be clear, is an IoT expert is not an expert in Python and an expert in big data and an expert in data exchange protocols and so forth, but they are proficient in all of those things if they're an IoT expert. And that's what that certification helps you to do.